The Legend of Zelda is one of the biggest Nintendo series, and no Nintendo system is complete without a Zelda game. The games are almost always really good, at least I think. I don't know. And The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which came out about a year ago, with the launch of the Switch, was no exception. And in the past, Nintendo has sometimes put multiple Zelda games on one system. The question is, will they put more than one Zelda game on the Switch? And if they do, what form will it take? Hello all 134 of you, I'm Redkwan. And will Zelda come back on the Nintendo Switch? So first, let's look at how plausible another major Zelda game coming anytime soon is. Since Wind Waker came out on the GameCube back in 2002, major 3D Zelda console games have released every 5 years or so. And because the Switch launched with Breath of the Wild, there's a pretty good chance that Nintendo could make another before the Switch's life ends. Also, Nintendo said that they want to have the Switch have a longer than normal lifespan, possibly 7 to 10 years, and well, I don't really know about that, but if they do end up doing that, then we would almost certainly get another big Zelda game. And because Nintendo has done it in the past on the NES, N64, GameCube, Wii, and Wii U if you count ports, there's no reason to think there won't be another on the Switch. Even though Breath of the Wild seemed to take a couple decades to come out, it really only took about 5 years to make the whole thing from scratch, and have it adjusted for the Switch from the Wii U from the release of Skyward Sword. So even if Nintendo scrapped everything from Breath of the Wild and started fresh on another massive game, it could still probably come out before the end of the console's life, at least if it did last 10 years. If you can't tell, I'm pretty sure that the Switch won't be around in 2027. But a lot of people really think that instead of starting completely from scratch, Nintendo will instead use some of the assets in Breath of the Wild, specifically the physics, in a new game. Doing that would save at least some time, and depending on how much they reuse, it could make a significant time savings. If Nintendo reused the physics, the world, and a lot of the characters and animations, they could probably shave years off the development time. I kinda doubt that it would go that far, just seeing as the world is the main draw to Breath of the Wild, and making a game with the same world and same gameplay might seem less like a new game and more like a DLC pack. But I could see them pulling a Majora's Mask, with a more compact world and less of a focus on exploring, and more of one on interacting. But I still think that a fully new game is more likely. But hey, maybe with how long that world must have taken to make, they might want to use it again. Nah, just throw it in a Mario Party or something. But while I would guess that there will probably be another big Zelda game on the Switch, there are other types of Zelda games that could also make an appearance. In fact, Nintendo has been releasing a Zelda game, in some form at least, just about every year. Besides the big Zelda games that come out every 5 years or so, there are also smaller Zelda games that traditionally get put on handhelds and ports of old Zelda games. So will we get the smaller 2D type handheld Zelda games on the Switch? It's a little hard to say at this point because the future of the 3DS and dedicated Nintendo handhelds is pretty murky, but from my point of view, I think the 3DS is fading out. Maybe it isn't completely gone, but clearly it isn't Nintendo's priority. And yeah, I know that the 3DS still sells well and they're still making some games for it, but if you look at the upcoming games for the 3DS on the Nintendo website, there's like 8. And just because it still makes them money doesn't mean it shouldn't be ended. Sorry, I got a little carried away there, I guess. Try to get back to Zelda. I don't think that Nintendo will really have much of anything else besides the Switch for the foreseeable future. Maybe they'll still put a few things on the 3DS, and maybe they'll make a dedicated handheld down the line, but I think for the next few years at least, pretty much everything Nintendo will come out on the Switch. And those 2D Zelda developers will probably still be making 2D Zelda games of some sort. It might be weird for smaller games developed by Nintendo to come to a system as powerful as the Switch, but I think they will. They probably won't because it's me, Redkwan, making the prediction, but I think that normally handheld Zelda games will also come to the Switch. As for Zelda Ports, I don't exactly think we'll get them anytime soon. We already got remasters of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess for the Wii U, and I think it would be a little weird to port a remaster. Maybe it'll happen, and I don't think it would necessarily be a bad idea, but I think that they probably have enough ports already, and The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD Deluxe doesn't really have much of a ring to it. There hasn't been an HD re-release of Skyward Sword, and I know a lot of people want that one for the Switch, but I don't think Nintendo would want to take the motion out of that game, and doing that with the Switch would probably be uncomfortable. I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but I doubt it. I think the most likely port is probably Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask, to be honest. I know they got updated versions on the 3DS, but it's not like the 3DS was really that high definition. Not exactly. And I think having a fully remastered version of those games would probably be really cool. But if I had to guess, I would say we probably aren't getting any Zelda ports, and at least none anytime soon. So yeah, I think, or at least hope, that we'll get a big new Zelda game at some point in the Switch's life, and probably a few smaller handheld type Zeldas in between. But I would probably guess that we aren't getting any ports anytime soon. Wow, the Switch has been out for over a year, and The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild has also been out for over a year. That's a long time. They don't seem like they've been out that long. You know what else doesn't seem like it should have been out that long? Me. Redkwan. I've made 50-some videos. That's a lot of videos. And I've been doing this for over a half a year now. Whew. That's a long time, actually. Maybe I should quit. I hope nobody's seen all 50 videos. That'd be a real waste of time. But if you're like, I really want to celebrate this half-year anniversary for Redkwan, which don't ever say that in your life. But if you do, then you can go watch some of my first videos where it's even worse than these. I think they're worse. Hopefully they're worse, because if they're better, then woof, we got some trouble, if you know what I'm saying. And if there's something you want me to cover, if there's a topic, something in video games or some Nintendo game or something that you want me to talk about that I haven't talked about, or even that I have talked about, I don't care. Just tell me, because I have no idea what I'm doing. So, if there's something you want me to talk about, just tell me. Well, what do you think about Zelda on the Nintendo Switch? Do you think everything I said was wrong and you now completely disown me? Probably not, right? Right? Well, anyways, I'm Redkwan. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye.